Hello and welcome into another video, and my style is definitely chaos because it's just who I am. I embrace the chaos, but this video is going to take quite some time to make. Like, I'm recording this very first clip here in the middle of August, well, the start of August I should say, and I know there's going to be some preamble here, but the entire video is I'm going to try to go through, and this won't be everything. It'll be impossible for me to do everything. There's shit that even I don't know. Of certain tips and tricks that people who are completely new to video games may need to know. And the first one I'm going to be discussing is actually Waterfalls. That's what this clip is ultimately going to be. But while I'm on my way to actually getting to what I need to show, I'll do a little bit of combat while I do the preamble. So this video is going to take several months to make, I have a strong feeling, and I am going to have to quite literally just every time I run into something, I'm like, yep, that should be going into it, I'll record, and then have to do an edit, and then another edit, and I know with my style, chaos and everything comes through, but this is genuinely how my brain works, and until it's right in front of my face, I won't see it. Because it's one of those things that I know the knowledge of, so I don't need to consciously know it, but I do now, for the first time ever, need to consciously point out and know some of this stuff so I can actually show it to you, the new gamer, who might be going, yeah, why is this the way in games? Why is this a thing? Specifically, again, things like Waterfalls. I don't even want to go through and see any other things because, again, at this moment in time, Waterfalls are the one that I'm focusing on. I understand my videos are a complete cacophony of chaos at times, and I'm definitely lazy when it comes to editing because I don't even bother putting transitions in or anything. I just do cut to cut to cut. It's because, again, chronically ill, and I'm trying to do something useful and helpful, but still with my own limitations. I'm not trying to turn this into a professional job where I take years of my time to do one video. I've seen some people who, like, I've got creators in my life who actually spend way too long on videos, and I'm like, dude, that's like a 30-minute video and you've spent 8 months of your life on it. And for certain people, it makes them ear shit to the buddy, so I understand that. But for me, this is a hobby, and I'm just doing this to help people. So now that I have finally killed what I believe to be the last enemy in my way, although no doubt I'll have forgot the ones under the bridge, yeah, I can already see, but it's fine, because that's an easy, simple one. And I can actually show you from here. I understand this is an ice zone, but this is specifically why I wanted to show this one off. Anyone who doesn't know gaming lore, The Legend of Zelda, I believe, was the first game to ever do it, and that was 40 years ago. They hid a secret behind a waterfall. I can't even remember what it was, to be honest. It might have been a heart piece. It might have been, well, a heart container, because that one didn't have pieces. It might have been an important item or something. It's just one of those. They just hid it behind a waterfall. And ever since that day... Oh, that's new kinds of butterflies that I probably should be doing, but I am trying to make a video here, so it's fine. I'll just reload the file. Ever since that day, devs everywhere have decided to hide things behind waterfalls. And I understand this is technically not a waterfall, but it also is. This is the second one of these that I've found in this area. And the very first one was better hidden, but I still ran to it instantly because my brain immediately went, hey, before that froze. Like, if this was spring, if this was summer, and that was actually water again, that would be a waterfall. They've hid something behind that, and sure enough, they hid something behind it. So yeah, it's such a basic thing, and I know this one's going to be the full-on long part of the video. Going forward, the rest of this is most likely going to be clip to clip to clip to clip, and then eventually, when I figure out I've got enough to actually put up a video without being overwhelming, the video will end, and I'll say my byes then. But yeah, for whatever reason, they decided we'll hide things behind waterfalls, and now every game does it, and it doesn't matter whether or not the waterfall is actually made of water. That is the thing that I wanted to show this for. There are other examples. I wish I had them in front of me. I wish I had other games. I know fine well I've been playing in games where it could be as simple as acid falling down. Anything that is essentially at its core in video game terms of something falling down over a mountain or over a crack to make it look like a waterfall. Sludge, toxic waste, fucking acid. It doesn't have to be water, it can be lava. Sometimes lava are even the worst ones, because lava in a lot of games instantly kills you. And yet I've still had games where they've hid things behind lava falls, and usually what happens it might not be a simple case of you have to do that. You know, you have to like smash through, you have to freeze the lava, you have to put a rock there to block it so that you can open an entrance. It could be a number of things. Sometimes it really will be as simple as just walk behind the water. But other times the water will kill you. You'll drown. Like in old Zelda games, you need flippers to be able to actually swim. So, yeah, if you're new to games, and if you're walking around playing pretty much any action game these days, any open world game, anything at all like this, it's not the sort of thing that I don't think you will ever find it in a puzzle game. But there'll be racing games where there'll actually be a shortcut through the waterfall. I'm pretty fucking sure there's Mario Karts where you have to use a turbo to blast through the water. It's one of those. This is lesson one, essentially. Always keep an eye on your surroundings when you're playing a game, and always look for anything at all that could be considered, even if not by your own terms, because again, I understand different things are different things, so it's not like an acid fall is technically a waterfall or anything, but anything that in video game terms is there is a large body of something, water, lava, acid, falling down, covering what could be a cave entrance or anything. And again, sometimes you could have to walk through it, sometimes you could have to smash, sometimes you could have to freeze, sometimes it might be a simple case of, actually, there's a cave all the way over there, and you have to run around the entire length of the map, and then you find the cave, and then you keep running around, and then suddenly you realise, hey, I'm behind the waterfall. You know, just always be on your lookout for waterfalls. Right, on to the next clip. Right, and for the second clip, I'm not going to do this every single time. The only reason I know of this is because I'm doing this on the same day as the first clip. Again, though, this will take months. This is one where I need to make sure not to mess up. And it's probably why I'm feeling a little antsy. Because the second thing, I only really get one chance to show you this, because as soon as I show you it, it disappears. Because that's kind of the whole point. This is one of the hardest ones to explain as well. The second piece of gamer knowledge is how to spot invisible walls, or fake walls, or whatever wall you want to call it. Basically, in this cave, well, this tunnel, it's literally called the Sealed Tunnel. And when you walk in for the first time, granted, at this point in this specific game, Elden Ring, you will have came across more of them, so you'll be able to see and work out and figure out. But genuinely, right now, I would say, if I didn't know where it was, there are two actual things that could be. So which of these two? I'm going to run up to them. Do you think this is the one that I have to hit to make it disappear so that I can continue through the cave? I mean, it's clearly a doorway shape and size. I could easily smash into this and then it just fade away from existence and walk through. But at the exact same time, this is also doorway shaped and sized. Just a solid rock, just the same as the other one. There's nothing protruding out of it. This one starts to head down a little bit. That one heads up a little bit. There's absolutely no way whatsoever to tell the difference between the rocks other than to obviously hit them and to find out that that is not the correct one. It could clearly be a doorway, and honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if this was one as well, because that could have easily disappeared all of that way as well. And I only spotted this one on my way back. But this one here is the invisible wall. It is the first of many. And I don't know how I'm going to teach you how to spot those, because every game's different. Not every game will even have these. It is one of those things that this is something that I want to say dates back, again, about 40 years to Castlevania. That is, as far as I'm aware, the first game that I at least remember playing where the scenery was not just the scenery. Apologies, by the way, for some weird light flickering. I'm running mods on this to be able to run the game how I actually like to play it, so you'll get some weirdness like that. But basically, in Castlevania, it was a side-scrolling 2D game. All of the blocks, so just regular standard block size, looks like a box, you would hit some of them, and then they'd smash away, and you'd get food, or power-ups, or upgrades, or stuff like that. And then other games started to do it, and specifically Souls-likes, because they've been heavily inspired by Zelda, by Castlevania. I'm trying to think if Zelda actually has any. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's one of those that, again, it's without the example being right in front of me, I'm going to struggle to pull from this, because this is just stuff that I know, you know? I mean, even in this, I don't go into the sealed tunnel and know I have to look for invisible walls, because I already knew where they all were. And this is something that I really struggled to explain to my friends when I was playing it, because they're younger than me. And They were like, oh, the sealed tunnel. Let's see if you can figure this out. And I ran straight in, ran straight to the first one of those 3 scenarios I've just shown you there. Smacked it, and it's like, it's this way, right? And it's like, how did you do that? And it's like, I've played Castlevania before. There's like 6 in this area. I want to say it. I am playing a randomizer. I am also not playing to the best of my ability because I'm in the middle of trying to show stuff. And I have to do, like, try to be careful not to get myself killed while doing this because it's just going to reset everything back. But I also couldn't just come into here and kill everything because otherwise the wall would disappear. It never comes back. I'd have never been able to show you. So this is one of those real-time on-the-go moments. And it's why, as well, calling these clips, I am fully aware, they're more like minute-long tutorial type things. But again, we have an entire wall over here. And without, like, running into and hitting everything, I don't know how to teach you that I knew that this was fake the first time I saw it. It's, as weird as it is, you start to learn video game language when you start to look at things and you start to pay attention to the scenery. If the scenery... Oh, I need to run away from this. If the scenery looks off, that can usually be a huge indicator. Now, the first one, there was no real scenery change. It was just literally a rock cave with a rock tunnel and everything. But this here, this is when I knew where the secret was. Because it's like, that, basic. There was a wooden wheelbarrow and nothing else. It's like, yeah, huge open thing. Of course, you'd want to look. Yeah, I would go to it. You'd want to run to it. But the scenery was all wrong. There was just a wheelbarrow. Meanwhile, this is clearly a distraction. This is a chest. This is loot. Oh my god, I come over here and I get loot. I'm not supposed to get loot. I'm supposed to hit the invisible wall behind it. It's... Oh, shit, I might be about to get air blasted. I probably shouldn't have done that. But yeah, obviously I'm on a randomizer. It's not always a weathered dagger there. And obviously I'm on a randomizer running an ultra-wide mod that every now and then likes to freeze when things go wrong there with a lot of particle effects at once, which apparently an Estus flask while they're being light beamed does it. But yeah, this really was the main cave that I wanted to come into to try to show it off, because outside of Sage's cave, which honestly I might now go make a cut and take you to the Sage's cave, because there are still more invisible walls in here, which again, this is obvious because of course it has to be. You're taught throughout the entirety of this game that when you come down one of these elevator shafts, your way is forward. So I like that they actually put this invisible wall here, because this one isn't even supposed to trip you up. This one is supposed to be, oh yeah, it's right in front of you. And I wanted to hit that and end it and then do the cut, but now the game's decided to freeze again. Oh, there we go. But yeah, it's, yeah, just as simple as it is, this entire thing. This one actually gets easier because, again, the more you go in, the more you realise, okay, well, there has to be another one. You know, and this is why I said as well, I think this one's got about 6, because if memory serves, there's at least one more down there, but I don't think it's one that leads to the actual exit, because I believe that's the one that leads to the exit. Maybe it's that there's an invisible floor. And invisible floors, again, that's even rarer in games. This game specifically has them, and it's why I brought them up. Invisible floors are somewhere I'll have rode past them on horseback so many times and just not even noticed. You really do have to be looking for them. But you also don't want to drive yourself mad looking for them, because just because a game has them doesn't mean they're going to be absolutely everywhere. This tunnel and the Sage tunnel are pretty much the Sage cave are 2 major exceptions. So yeah, let's go to the Sage cave. And it's at this moment that they are currently realising really hope I haven't beat this fucking dungeon, well, cave already on this file. Because oh, thank fuck for that, I hadn't. Because, yeah, this one, again, pretty obvious. I've literally only just entered the cave. Granted, maybe I should have actually shown that, because all I did was fast travel here. But this is the actual entrance of the cave. So, again, you run in, and there's nothing here. You get the grace that you're taught how to do in this game specifically. Again, I know a lot of what I'm telling you is how to spot invisible walls in Elden Ring, but honestly, this is good advice for pretty much any invisible wall game. Always be on the lookout for anything that looks off. Again, sometimes it's the obvious of, well, this is a dead end. It can't be a dead end. Sometimes it's a case of the decor looks off, the setting looks off. Sometimes they even try to hide it in weird ways where it's like, it'll be a pixel or something off. It'll be as simple as, well, that's the right block that should be there, but the pattern is just ever so slightly, and yep, hit the pattern. Chances are you will find, and this here, obviously, I'm at a waterfall, which, by the way, I know I've already done waterfalls. This one, I can guarantee you there is nothing, because there is no way to get behind this one. Although, on a technicality, I do go under the cave, so I am technically behind the waterfall getting stuff, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'm here. I did actually try to make that jump the first time, because I thought, I knew the wall was there. I knew that was clearly it. It's like, it's the shape of an invisible wall. It's the shape of a door. But I still thought, if I can make that, it'll look really cool. I did not make that. But the Sage Cave is another great one, I figured, to show you, because this is one where they use loot and distractions a hell of a lot. Now, there isn't one here, but there are 2 pieces of loot, and this is where the randomizer terrifies me, because at any point, I don't know what's going to be anywhere. Now, I know fine well, in base game, when I break this, I get rushed by 4 enemies. And I get rushed by 4 enemies that are slow-moving zombies, like kind of half-skeletal warrior type things. I don't know their official name, and it's quite easy to just dodge out the way. This being a randomizer, there could be a dragon in there, and I don't know. Now, chances are I'd see the dragon's tail sticking through, but I missed this the very first time I went past it. And hopefully you'll have seen what I actually did with how I entered the area, because I made sure to enter the area like that so that my camera wasn't panning, because that is how I missed it. Because you've got this little distraction, you've got this little distraction, again, randomizer, so this is a different collectible. It wasn't the glowy flowers, but you've got that little distraction, and then suddenly, oh, something's lit on fire over there, and I ran straight past it. And it was only when I was actually coming back the second time, and I'm like, wait a minute, oh, they hid the braziers in there, and they hit the wall, and, well, let's find out what's behind here this time. Okay, so it's one of those. That's at least easy to dodge, but that's now going to be a pain for the rest of the cave. The same as it was in the last one. But yeah, it's hard to truly show off, and especially with so many games doing it slightly different. But invisible walls are all over the place, and sometimes they're pretty obvious and blatant, and sometimes they're really not. That one, the chest doesn't even do a good job of hiding it. Hopefully you were able to see that on the camera. It's why I kept running around dodging the enemies, so that you could hopefully see that the chest of the actual light, sorry, the light from the actual loot chest was emanating behind the invisible wall. So that wasn't even a particularly well hidden one, but it is still one that you're currently being attacked by enemies. You could easily miss it. Right, on to the next clip. And for this next one, it was kind of hard to think of what I was actually going to do to set up this specific thing. And on a technicality, I am cheating here. Basically, there are many times in many games where the enemies are kind of meaningless. You can just run past them, you can do whatever you want, you don't need to engage. If you want to run past absolutely everything, then there are very few games that allow you to do that level of running past everything. But there's quite a few where running away is always viable. It is actually genuinely always a strategy, but there's then also other games, and I've mentioned Zelda a lot. It's almost as if they're one of the pioneers for a lot of how video gaming works these days, but I've mentioned Zelda a lot, and I didn't want to just set up a Zelda dungeon puzzle. I will eventually have Zelda in this video, I know damn well I will, but the cheating is I've went for Hades 2 here. This is a roguelike, and the whole point of every single stage, every single mission, every single whatever word criteria you want to use, floor, section, whatever, you have to kill absolutely everything in order to progress. Now, this is the entire point of this thing's game. Like that, it's not exactly groundbreaking revelation news for anyone, and even newer gamers might have been able to figure that out. but I still figured this was the easiest way to convey. There are some times, genuinely, when you are not told at any point that you have to kill everything. With Zelda, it is traditionally that you will be in a room, and some of the 2D games do this with compasses and that. You'll get a alert, essentially, that there is a key or a chest or something hidden in the room, and there'll be no puzzle at all whatsoever. And that means that the puzzle solution is that you kill every single enemy in the room. And the key, the chest, whatever, will spawn, will drop. There are so many times, though, that it's not... I mean, at least those are kind of set up, and at least those you can start to learn when Zelda's telling you, hey, this is I need to kill everything. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely fake outs in games and a lot of that. There's times when you'll have killed everyone in the room and you'll be sitting there going, huh, really? I just killed everything just for the sake of killing everything? But there are times when you will need to kill everything and you won't know that. And there'll be absolutely no way for the game to have told you to, like, there'll be no sign saying, hey, like, 9 out of 5, well, 5 out of 9 enemies remaining or anything. There'll be no weirdness like that where game-breaking mechanic that outright tells you that you have to kill everything. And if you don't know this, if you don't play those sorts of games, I know fine well I've had people get stuck in... I mean, when I've recommended Zelda to people, I try always not to spoil anything. But I do always ask, like, what is your game knowledge? Like, when I'm dealing with someone who is pretty new at something. I've got a friend at the moment who is very much only playing Pokemon and Pokemon ROM hacks and stuff like that. It's the only, pretty much the only video game they play. And I'm trying to say, so what is it about those? Like, is it the monster catching thing? Like, are there the JRPGs that I can get you into? I'm trying to go through a lot of this. And a lot of it is that they don't like puzzles. So when I go through what puzzles they don't like, it does come up naturally. And when I'm like, so hang on a second, you might actually really hate this franchise, or you might love this franchise. And with Zelda, something that I did bring up with them was, so at any point would you know to just go into a room and kill everything? And it's like, you mean like a murder hobo thing in D&D? Just like, yep, basically that. No, they wouldn't. And that is why I wanted to include this in this video. Because I understand for a lot of games like Hades 2, it is so self-explanatory, because that is the whole point of the game. But then there are games out there, and it's not just your Zeldas. Again, I'll have mentioned this at least in one other clip. If it's not in front of me, if I don't have the list right in front of me, I'll not be able to think of it right now. But there are so many games that you just go through, and naturally the puzzle solution is, oh, I just have to kill everything. And it's a trope that is a little annoying for me as a person who likes to speedrun games, and I understand if this whole video is supposed to be about teaching things, and maybe I will at some point include teaching terms as well, but speedrun is kind of self-explanatory. It's just, I'm trying to run through the game as fast as I can. Yes, believe it or not, there are people who find that fun. No, not on, like, my actual first playthrough of a game, but this here, Hades, is designed for people like me who want to just do faster and faster and faster. Like, I can beat an entire run of this in about 10 minutes when I want to, because I'm really like speedrunning it. But all of that tangent to say, there are tropes like the whole killing enemies and everything that gets really annoying to me as a speedrunner, because when I'm playing through, especially that, like, if I am playing a game for the first time, that the only way I end up discovering that is by doing it. And the amount of times that I'll have to try to, like, remind myself, okay, when I next play through this game, I don't kill everything in this room, this room, this room, and this room, but this room I have to kill absolutely everything. You know, it's one of those things that I understand it as a mechanic. I don't so much hate it, but I do think it's a bit overplayed at times, because it feels like the sort of mechanic that, again, unless you were there at the beginning, the whole I was there Gandalf, I was there 3,000 years ago when Zelda fucking started this shit. And again, other games might have done it as well. I just, as far as I'm aware, Zelda was the first one to do most of the mechanics that I've actually brought up. It's the same as how it's the first one that did Z-targeting as well. That's just basically a targeting mechanic that allowed you to hit people in three-dimensional games. Others might have done it, but that one, I truly do think that if you've never played a game where you have to kill everything before as the solution, then yeah, you may not know that. Right, on to the next one, hopefully with a lot less waffle. So this next one has two variants actually, and I'll have to hopefully remember to put them both back to back, because it is the same thing twice, but you'll understand why it's different when I actually do it. So this is Donkey Kong Country Returns. This is a side-scrolling platformer. If you are completely new to gaming, by side-scrolling it means that I am on a two-dimensional plane here. And as you have just seen, I've just broke out of my house and everything is pushing me to go right. The game is naturally telling me, go right. So that's what a side-scroller is. You scroll from left to right. In any side-scroller where it's teaching you to go right, it's not every one, but because of the likes of Donkey Kong, and I know other games will have done it earlier, but Streets of Rage is another one. I used to play Streets of Rage. If you go left at the start of Streets of Rage 2, you get an extra life. In the case of Donkey Kong, you usually get either a puzzle piece or some bananas or something. Like, it's not a case of every single level. It truly isn't. But every time you start a platformer, like a side-scrolling game, just make sure to look left every now and then, because sometimes it is the answer. Especially once it became a trope. That's why I say not every level, but there are more than one occasion. There's more than one occasion in Donkey Kong where it happens. I just knew for a fact it happened in the first level, because traditionally it always happens in the first level as well. But the other caveat to this is, if you're playing a side-scroller and every now and then it subverts expectations, and instead of going left to right, you actually get a level that's going right to left, obviously do the reverse. And that isn't the second part. The second part is, well, what's coming up now for the next clip. And for this next tip, I couldn't think of a better way to show it off other than a side-scrolling beat-em-up. And this isn't something that is exclusive to side-scrolling beat-em-ups. If you have played games like this before, you may already have seen on the stage what I actually want to point out and why I'm not going past it, to make sure that the camera doesn't go, oh, it even just moved, just to highlight my point a little bit. So yeah, trash cans, pots, anything at all, like breakables, crates. There are so many things, mundane things, that you can run past in video games. Break them open, because, don't get me wrong, sometimes there'll be bombs. Like, some games use these to troll. This is a term that you're going to definitely need to know as well, so maybe this is about to become a 2-in-1. Trolling in video games is basically where the developer knows that gamers do this shit, so they know that we do this because it's kind of expected of us, because it's one of those self-fulfilling prophecies. It's a repeating circle. Games do it, so gamers do it, so now games do it to punish gamers who do it for doing it. Like, it's one of those. Sometimes you'll come across ones where you'll break open something and it'll blow up and it'll hurt you. But for the most part, if you see a pot, if you see a crate, if you see a bin, if you see anything at all, you are going to want to smash it open, because you might get health, you might get a weapon, which these are obviously knives that have just dropped from enemies, but the amount of times that in games like this, I'll get like baseball bats or tasers or even guns or something like that, you know, and it all comes from smashing things in my environment. Zelda uses it a ton so that you can break pots to get rupees, which is currency, or you can get hearts, which is health. Just, yeah, be on the lookout for anything at all that looks mundane, because just because it's mundane doesn't mean you're not supposed to interact with it. If anything, chances are, because it's mundane, you are supposed to interact with it. And I obviously understand in this day and age, a phone booth probably isn't mundane, because I can't honestly remember the last time I seen one. I think they've pretty much all been removed from my city. I think there's still a couple left in the country. I think they're in very remote locations where they need, like, where you don't really have cell service and people need to be able to, like, contact emergency services and that. But yeah, a phone booth used to be the sort of thing that it really wasn't that exciting. So you'd walk past it, you'd walk past trash cans, you'd walk past pots, just anything like that in the environment that looks either a little mundane, or sometimes they can look suspicious. Sometimes they are designed to look suspicious and out of place. Sometimes they can have a glint. Just, yeah. I know a lot of these tips and tricks and gamer lore and stuff turns out to basically be just examine your environment, but it's because it's true. It's stuff that... all of this is window dressing, and it's designed to make you not notice it, if that makes sense. Like, when we watch movies, we are just watching the movie, we let it all wash past us. Like, you're not supposed to be looking at every single scene at microscopic detail going, oh my god, can you see the colour of that curtain, and things like that. Games are done in the same way, especially video game camera. And video game cameras, when we can control them, it makes it even harder. Like, games tend to have to design these things so that we have to take notice. But in 2D games where you just walk past them, then yeah, it's hard to explain until you've actually experienced it. But it's why one of the tips I don't find well in this video is about panning the camera, because sometimes, yeah, you need to pan the camera, because we all just get that point of forgetting that, oh yeah, cameras can move and shit. Like, we're not watching a movie, we're playing a game, shit's supposed to happen at different intervals. Right, on to the next one. So, it's kind of actually really difficult to set this up when you really fucking want to, but I have managed to. This is the loosest one. Anyone who's actually a gamer looking at this is going to be like, really? That's the best example? You try, because seriously. Oh, I've just realised Alfred was really loud. Seriously, I cannot at all figure out any other way to do this. Right, I'm going to quickly change the audio in-game so that Alfred doesn't hopefully deafen anyone again. So this is part 2 of the go left in a side scroller or anything. I have an objective marker. I'm struggling to say the word. Objective marker. That's what that diamond is. It's like literally that thing over there. I'm told I'm in Home Sweet Home in the top left corner and I have to answer the bat phone. Just because I have an objective marker does not mean that I have to go right there. Now, obviously, in this case, this is an annoying one, it turns out, where the phone is going to ring the entire fucking time. But I can see something shiny and gold over there. I can see something shiny and gold over there. And it's like, my objective's over there, but what if I want to get the shiny gold things? Well, I'd already set up. There's also a shiny gold thing there. Because when I actually walked through this section where that shop was, where I've just been, I saw through here, oh, there's a shiny gold thing. And obviously, it was set up in such a way that I have the shiny gold thing and the objective marker that were side by side. I'm like, oh, yeah. So turns out Batman, well, Lego Batman was actually one of the best examples to go for, but at the same time, I understand this is so lazy. But seriously, I can't think of. I was trying to set up an actual, if you get a fork in a road, it happens in games. There are so many fucking games, like Metaphor Fantasio, I know fine well, but I can't remember where they are, because they just happen. So, Metaphor Fantasio, GRPG, you'll be walking, you'll have a path, you'll come to a fork in a road, your objective will tell you go left. Do not go left. You can, but usually, a lot of times, side content, hidden items, anything at all that could be useful, a lot of times games put the best things away from the objective. And I know that sounds batshit crazy, because why wouldn't you want the main quest? There are so many games out there that have better side quests than main quests. There are so many games out there that have better main quests than side quests. It's just the luck of the draw. But because of that, it means that you're conditioned to to actually seek out the side content. I know people who hate the Borderlands franchise because they skip every single side mission, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's why you hate Borderlands. That is the game for side quests. Borderlands 4 just sucks because it sucks, but Borderlands, you play that game for the side quests as much as you play it for the main quest. Majora's Mask, if you only play it, and I know I've already done a Majora's Mask clip in one of these vids, if you only play Majora's Mask and do the main quest, it's not that great a game. But if you do the side stuff, it's phenomenal. If you play Ocarina of Time and skip the side stuff, it's still a phenomenal game. Like, it really is just a case of the luck of the draw. Do the side stuff. Don't just go to your objective, even if the constant ringing is annoying you. Right, on to the next clip. This is going to be one of the weirder tips, but I assure you, like, I say tips, I'm going to have a tip video and I'm going to have a gamer lore video. This is one of those that could technically go in both, but I honestly feel this is something that mostly gamers will know more. So I'm going to treat this as a gamer lore, gamer knowledge thing. When you are playing any free-to-play game, so this currently is Diablo 4, this is not a free-to-play game, but I didn't have anything like a Fortnite or an Overwatch installed. I do not play those sorts of games. And part of why I do not play those sorts of games is because when you are playing any free-to-play game, more than anything, you have to remember, nothing is really free. When you are playing a free-to-play game, just because the product is free, that just changes what the product is. You are the product on a free-to-play game. So they want you in their ecosystem. They want you in, like, to put all of your time playing the fucking game. They want you to hopefully head over to things like, and this is why I put Diablo 4 on, things like their shops, where they've got an exorbitant amount of goods for sale that you can pay a lot of real-world money for. This is something that I feel a lot of gamers will understand, but not a lot of non-gamers will not. When you go to a movie, and I know I'm using a lot of, like, I bring up movies and things like that a lot, but again, if you understand any entertainment medium, when you go to a movie, when you buy a book, TV shows on a technicality are kind of more like video games when I actually get to what I'm about to explain. But movie, and even then TV show sequels, right? Either way, movie, book, TV show, you put the episode on, you put the movie on, you get the book. Sequels are sequels, and this is why I said on a technicality, but I'm already changing my mind. I'm going to say sequels do not count for this. You pay once, you get what you get. Video games, we have DLC, we have microtransactions. Just literally some of these here, I can't remember how much silver actually costs. I know I actually have some, or platinum it might be called in this game. Whenever you buy the Ultra Editions, the Deluxe Editions, things like that, you get some of that given, because and obviously, I say some of that given, it does sound like I'm being generous here. Oh my god, they give you some currency? No. It tacks into the cost of the Ultimate Editions. You can genuinely spend £126 if you want to on their quote-unquote best value for Platinum. And before anyone's going, oh my god, that's £126, who would even do that? And surely with £126 you'd be able to buy so many things. Okay, let's quickly go through this. So that gives me 18,500 Platinum. I already know that is maybe 6 things at best, and that's if I go for their premium things, not counting the bundles like this here, which is obviously a 50% off bundle of 5,600 Platinum usually, and 2,800 there. But that's a 2,600 one, that's a 2,800 one. I'm trying to remember if they go above 2,800, because it's been a while since I've actually been into this store and looked. 2,800 might be the max. I kind of thought there was a 3,200, but that might have just been a one-off thing where it's also that you get some accessories, because this is the worst part. Okay, so firstly, that looks amazing. And this is actually the worst part, to be fair, that some of the best armor in the game is the shit that you have to fucking pay for. But you will get that there. That gives me a helmet, a chest plate, gauntlets, pants, boots. I can't remember what the other thing is. It's a sigil or something. Then a bow and a dagger. There's more than bows and daggers in this game. And there's more than bows and daggers that a sorcerer can use. In fact, if anything... Hang on, I was on a rogue there. I was just about to say, why would that be on a sorcerer? It's because I was looking at sorcerer. There's more than bows and daggers that a rogue could use. But going to the sorcerer, I could still kind of prove my point. Yeah, there's different weapons, different things here, different skins for the actual different abilities. It means you end up having to buy 2,800 for the costume. Then an accessory pack might be 1,000. Then the mount that goes with it is another 5,000 or 2,800 apparently for that. Fucking hell, 2,800. I mean, again, it's cool. I don't even like lions, but that's pretty cool. But all of it adds up really, really quickly. And it's why this is the weird gamer knowledge that I feel gamers will mostly know. And I'm actually going to swap to a different feed now. I'm going to swap to the Switch 2 because I'm about to continue with something else. Basically, you need to do heavy research on what your okay, why are you not swapping to the Switch 2? It says that you're on the 4K capture. There we go. Apologies about that. That was just OBS being weird. I had set it up. Like, I genuinely had set it up, but then it crashed, so I'm assuming when it crashed, it unset it, even though it claimed it was still on the source. Either way. Tangent on a very long video already. You need to do heavy research into where you're spending your money. Look at a game, see how much DLC it's got. DLC is short for downloadable content. It's usually expansions, it's like extra stories. Sometimes it is as good as like, oh, you'll get an extra 10 hours of game and it'll be amazing. Sometimes it's, oh, you'll get a skin. By a skin, I mean all of the armor I've just shown you there. Essentially, that's a skin. You get something that makes your character look different. You could get new weapons. Sometimes those weapons are powerful and that actually can break the game. And this is when pay to win comes in. This is also with some of the issue with free-to-play, where it's like sometimes these things that you're buying actually affect the gameplay. So the people who are paying more money, are getting a bigger, better arsenal of like all these things. But even worse, when you're actually buying a video game, and that's why I've got this screen on here. I own Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Nintendo Switch. Unfortunately, I own it on my American account. And the email provider that I use to set up my American account no longer exists. It is still on my Switch, 2, it allowed me to do the transfer. I can still play the game. But I cannot buy the upgrade edition for Xenoblade 2 and play it on that. I'm going to have to wait now until the game goes on sale. Looking, and I know it's been on the screen a long time, but looking at Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Nintendo Switch 2 edition, it is £58.99 currently. If you look one under, then Xenoblade with the expansion pass. So this is the Switch 1 version of the game without the Switch 2 upgrade, but it gives you the expansion pass. That's £76.98. Then you have Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Switch 1 version, which is $49.99, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the expansion pack, which is $26.99. So, do the math. How much do you think the Switch 2 upgrade patch should cost for Xenoblade 2 when you've seen what the bundles are like for the DLC and everything? You would assume, because the price difference between this and this is roughly £9, it would be roughly £9, right? Nope, it's $7.99. It's £1 less. Sometimes there is some weirdness with shops, with digital shops especially. Always take a quick look. Some games don't actually have an upgrade path. Nintendo ones always do, it seems. Like, I see it always. Every game that Nintendo releases a patch for will have an upgrade path for it, basically. It means that if you get things like... I know Octopath Traveler is coming out soon on the Switch 2. I own Octopath Traveler on the Switch 1. I am not getting the Switch 2 version because I would have to pay the full price of the game again. I might just have been better off searching for Octopath. I assumed it was out soon. But I'd basically have to pay the entire cost of the game again in order to upgrade to the Switch 2 version, because I can't just buy a Switch 2 upgrade. So even if there was a £9 one, I wouldn't be allowed to do that, right? It's something that a lot of people who don't know how to do this, who don't understand anything about the video game world, will just pay because they don't understand, well, how do I do the upgrade, and like, is it difficult? Literally, all you do, and I'm being serious with this, it is as simple, at least on the Switch 2, and honestly, it probably is on the other consoles. It's been a while since I've fucking done it, but you literally would buy the Switch 1 version of the game, and then buy the upgrade path, and yeah, you've saved £1. It also means that you could buy this bundle if you wanted to, and then the upgrade path. I will obviously be waiting until it goes on sale, because I already own the game, and Nintendo sales are few and far between, but it will go on sale again. Unfortunately, it went on sale about a year ago before I realised that I needed to buy it again, so, of course. Like, it was in the back of my mind, but I'm like, am I wasting my money? Because, I've still got access to it. Oh, yeah. So, anyway, I'm not going to mention the actual video game that did this, because it comes from a company that I absolutely despise, and the actual creator of the franchise is an abhorrent person, and I'm going to leave it at that. But they released a Switch 2 version of a famous game, and it was, if memory serves, £50, and they allowed you to do the upgrade, and the upgrade was a tenner. So people who already owned it could pay the tenner, but people who didn't own it would have been stuck paying £50, other than the fact that it became widespread that gamer friends were telling normie friends, hey, buy the Switch 1 version, it's currently on sale for £20. So you can buy the sale version of a Switch 1 game and then a Switch 2 upgrade for £30, or you could buy the Switch 2 version for £50. So yeah, this is, I know, a weird one for the gamer lore, gamer knowledge and everything, and I know you've had to put up with Diablo music the whole time I'm doing this, but yeah, I didn't know where else to put it, because monetary things, like money is one of the hardest things about this hobby. It is the prohibitively the most fucking expensive thing out there, and it's why free-to-play games are so popular, because you can play this amazing free game. Like, at this moment in time, Final Fantasy XIV just launched on the Switch 2, and you can play the quote-unquote free trial version. The free trial version, if memory serves, this is from someone I was speaking to about Final Fantasy, gives you basically 4 Final Fantasy games worth of content for free now. And then before you have to start paying to get up to, like, the other amounts of content, which they said, essentially, Final Fantasy XIV is the length of 6 Final Fantasies, and 4 of them are always free now as part of this trial thing. That is kind of good. Like, that's a really good thing. But even then, it's going to have fees. It's going to have so many fees. I don't know if that free version allows you to actually play without a subscription as well, because there are MMOs out there, massive multiplayer online games, which is what this is. look into, if you're unsure, just look into a game, just do a quick scan, figure out what the genre is, figure out if you're going to have to pay a subscription for it, figure out if it's going to have any hidden costs, like, oh, well, I'm only paying £20 on sale, but then it turns out, but to get the most of it, all of the gamers are saying you need 4 pieces of DLC and none of the DLC's on sale, because a lot of the time that is how it works. They'll put the game on sale to get you into their ecosystem, and then they want you to buy their DLC. So yeah, just shop around, be smart, be savvy about it, ask people if you don't know, try your best to save money, and try not to fall into any predatory traps of the Diablos with paying £40 for a single piece of armor, or any game that has a battle pass where the whole point is it wants you to play it every single day, doing missions every single day, grinding out EXP every single day. Free games, you and your time are the product. Right, on to the next one. I was trying to avoid repeating the same game twice, but I only actually have a couple Souls-like games installed, and one is Elden Ring and one is Liza P. And as I'm in the middle of playing Liza P for the Overture DLC, I figured, on a technicality, if I talk about Liza, like a mechanic, and show Liza P base game, then that's different to the Overture DLC. And I was thinking about doing with Erd Tree as well, but I can't even remember if I've got an Erd Tree save file set up in the middle of replaying that on a randomizer. But anyway, this is supposed to be about weird gamer logic that you, as a non-gamer, may not understand. And I can't think of any way to make you understand this one, other than I promise you, I am not taking the piss, I am not trolling. This is genuinely a real mechanic. It is not in a lot of games. It is predominantly in Souls-like games. I'm struggling to think of... There must be some JRPGs that do it as well, but for some reason, it became very popular to make it so that you have to talk to characters more than once. Now, I've not been able to set anything up because I am at the moment in the middle of replaying this game, and even if I'd been able to play Elden Ring, a game I know a hell of a lot more, it's like remembering what I've done, which NPCs I've talked to. So this might not do anything here, I'm fully aware this might be, but I'm going to talk, so apparently must remain in this room, hope Geppetto was safe. That's the starting dialogue. Let's see if I get it again. Yeah, right. That is something you're going to need to learn to do, though, in all of these sorts of games. I understand, to a non-gamer, and especially if you're trying to get immersion, there are people who roleplay with video games, and there are people who genuinely bond to NPCs and things like that and don't want to be a nuisance and an annoyance to these characters. But sometimes video games are designed where we're supposed to talk to them more than once. And especially in games like this where they're supposed to be cryptic, you will speak to a character and you will get the most basic dialogue. And I don't mean that in an offensive way, I just mean you will get the most basic dialogue. And it's done that way so that if you don't know to talk to them again, then you might think, oh, that was kind of a waste of time, I'll move on. No, it's because it wants you, this is a shop so it wouldn't really count, but it wants you to talk to the NPC again and again and again. And sometimes, so see, there is one that I at least know where I could set it up, but it's very early in Elden Ring and I know fine well I spoke to the character. But in the start of Elden Ring, you will meet someone called Roderica. If memory serves, I'm terrible with names anyway, and that game has too many R's. So Roderica, and basically you talk to her the first time, and you get some kind of base dialogue, and then you talk to her a second time, and she gives you a pose, like a stance, and emote, something for your character to do, like smile, or wave, or dance, so like those are emotes. Just, I understand a lot of people know emojis, so it's probably easy to explain as well in a gamer term, but you can have things that your character does, that your avatar does. So you talk to her the second time, you get given that. Talk to her a third time, you get even more dialogue, and she gives you what's known as a summon. She gives you a jellyfish summon, and that jellyfish is part of a quest that happens much, much, much later in the game, to the point of that a lot of people kind of forget they even have the jellyfish, and then they find where they're supposed to use it, and suddenly it's like, oh my god, that's where I'm supposed to use this? So yeah, it may seem counterintuitive, and it definitely adds some time to games. That's why I don't really like it as a mechanic, because I hate that now that I play games like this, I have naturally got to myself where it's like, I'm just going to need to talk to literally every single NPC at least twice in every video game I play from now on because of games like this. Because, and when I'm playing classic games, I'm doing it because I'm like, has this always been a thing and I've just genuinely not known? And so far, no. But yeah, talk to an NPC until you get repeated dialogue is the hint that I will give for that. That's why I set it up with Antonia up there, where as soon as I realised she said the same thing as the first sentence, I just blasted through the dialogue because I knew what she was going to say. But yeah, it may seem weird, but genuinely, talk to the NPCs more than once. Sometimes, as I say it 3 times, 4 times, hell, I have played, I definitely know fine well as a character in Elden Ring where I think I got 6 unique pieces of dialogue before I finally got one repeat. And sometimes it is done as kind of like a lore drop, sometimes it's done as a time waste thing, sometimes it's to hide an item. Because again, if you talk to Roderica the first time, you just get basic dialogue, and you'd be like, I guess I'll move on with my day. And when I actually played Elden Ring for the first time, I was playing it with people, and I started to walk away, and the women I was playing with shouted me back and went, no, this really is your first, isn't it? It's like, yes, why? Talk to her again, and I swear we're not trolling you. So I went over, talked to her again, and I got the emote, as I say, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk to her a third time. And before they even actually said it, I'm in the middle of talking, and it's like, and then if you talk to her a third time, I went, you'll get a jellyfish. It's like, you've already done that. Just like, yep, as soon as you said that I had to talk to her a second time, like, I had the knowledge of, oh, I'm going to talk to her a third time, aren't I? And, yeah, it seems counterintuitive, but I promise you, especially in Souls-likes, and I've started to see indie games do it as well because of the popularity of a Dark Souls and Liza P and Elden Ring and all that. I've started to see Mina the Hollower, I'm pretty sure does it. I think Silksong does it. So yeah, just talk to the NPCs more than once until you get repeated dialogue. Right, until the next one. Sorry, on to the next one, I mean to say. I'm starting to get frazzled. I've done so many of these clips in one day, and I'm starting to also mix up, well, oh yeah, I'd usually just be ending the video now. So yeah, on to the next one. This is going to be the last one for the video, and I'm actually going to do 2 in 1 because as I was loading this up, I've kind of just thought of one. So I might have mentioned it in other places because of how I've had to do this and how I've had to record these clips. There might be some repeats of, like, not actual repeated tips because I'm going to know what clips I'm putting in. Not that these are clips, these are all long, but I know I'm going to have had a couple of things where like, oh, I might have mentioned that as a little bit of a throwaway in here. So apologies, but I'm pretty sure I haven't mentioned this one of, believe it or not, one of the easiest things to forget. And it's something that a lot of gamers forget as well. Games need saving. You will eventually learn when a game is auto-save versus not. And even then, sometimes there's games where I am petrified that they're not auto-save, which means the game automatically saves your progress. You don't need to worry about it. But there's times when games aren't auto-save and I'm like, oh, crap, how do I save? Do I need to switch off? I'm running out of time. And I worry about that. Another reason why I keep saying about getting the Switch 2, because at any point I can just, put the console in sleep mode and it doesn't matter anymore. But if you are playing a game, especially like a large open world game or anything, sometimes, well, most times these days it will have auto-saving, but sometimes games do still require manual saves and allow you to actually save manually, so it is always worth going in and doing that. The second thing, the thing that I originally actually loaded this game up for, is purely to show fast travel. If you are brand new to video games, I can't imagine you understand what fast travel is. And if I was to tell you, from where you live, let's say you live in New York City, you have to drive to New Jersey. Like, you have to get to New Jersey. You'd be able to drive there, you'd be able to use a train, you'd be able to get a bus, you'd be able to fly. None of these things are instantaneous. They would take time out of your day. Video games, sometimes you do have to fully retread old ground. But if a game is huge like this, I mean, I understand if you're brand new to games, this may not look like that big of a map. But when you consider where I am currently standing right now is here, and this is the size of that tiny little area that you'll have just seen with a little bit of a pond. I'm actually going to run over to the pond now, and finally I'm touching water. So yeah, this is a very large game. Just running from there to there in a straight line took, what, 10, 15 seconds? Maybe it just felt that way. This is a very large game. And sometimes you do not want to have to go all the way over to the far left corner because you know fine well 5 minutes later you want to go all the way to the bottom right corner. This is where fast travel comes in. And any game that's got it will usually tell you how it works in that game. But usually it is a case of you pick where you want to go on the map, you pick the point that is unlocked there. In Elden Ring, it's Graces. In Zelda, it's shrines, towers, dungeons, divine beasts, like in the case of this and Breath of the Wild, specifically Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Fast travel is also great for when you accidentally travel into a volcano and you don't realise. But yeah, fast travel, some games I think call it something slightly different. Sometimes it's just like teleportation or portal, that whatever. Either way, fast travel is fast travel. It allows us to travel large amounts of the game incredibly quickly. And that makes a lot less backtracking. That makes things a lot less tedious. There are some games, like I know people who play these Zelda games and do not fast travel at any point because they'd rather just ride a pony everywhere, and that is valid because horseback riding is really fun in this game, or gliding everywhere, or a mix of the two. Spider-Man is one of the games that many people joke this is the world's worst fast travel system because there's no point to it, because who doesn't want to just constantly swing web? And I get that. Like, that is a therapeutic game for a lot of people. You can put that game on and you can just literally sling web as Spider-Man and swing from area to area, and it's just relaxing. It's so chill and such a cozy experience, and you're not doing anything at all but vibing. But it does still have a fast travel, and with Spider-Man 2 they actually improved it. And once they improved it, funnily enough, people started to use it, because a lot of people's complaints were where you were fast traveling in Spider-Man 1, and I think in Miles Morales as well, wasn't really that useful. But in the second one, they made it so that you literally picked your grid, your block, your part of New York, and you told it to go there, and the loading was so fast, and, more importantly, they actually start you out mid-animation swinging, so that you can instantly start swinging as you fast travel. Suddenly, people started to use the fast travel in Spider-Man 2 a lot more. But yeah, fast travel, it's something that not a lot of people know about. I know professional gamers. I have been screaming at podcasts before because I put a podcast on that no longer exists called What's Good Games. And one of the hosts was talking about her and her husband and how they were struggling, and here at the start of Breath of the Wild so long, and it's like, and I can't believe once I got down there was no way to get back up, and the Sky Islands in Tears of the Kingdom as well, like it happened, like what happened to me in Breath of the Wild happened to him in Tears of the Kingdom, and it's like, I don't understand, and all of these people saying it's great, and I'm sitting there screaming, absolutely screaming. So this, like, literally this thing here, I think it's this one. I'm currently looking on OBS and my eyesight is a bit awful. There we go. Right, Room of Awakening. That you get at the very start of the game, and that is a fast travel point. They had fallen off one of the Sky Islands at the start of this game and fell to an area where they couldn't get back up to continue the quest, and they tried building everything. It took them hours to finally build a bridge that they could get up. And all the time they're slating the game. It's just like, I can't believe this. They expect you to do this. And I'm like, I can't believe you're a professional video gamer who doesn't understand about fast travel. But here we are. So I figured new gamers might definitely not understand about fast travel. I can sometimes forget about it as a mechanic, but not in a game that I'm actively playing, if you know what I mean. The moment that that happened, I was like, I cannot believe this spent hours, literally hours, trying to get back to some place that they could have just opened the menu and fast traveled. And the game does tell you, like this one does. Some things don't. Sometimes I have wondered, or I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I could fast travel in this all of a sudden. You'll just get this one throwaway line and not realise because they might have called it something else. And then when you open your map, suddenly it's like, oh, I could teleport here and here and here. But this one specifically, you are given the fast travel thing, and when you open your map, you immediately have that little thing, and it literally says the word travel. If I press the A button, I travel to it. So yeah, fast travel's a thing. It's very useful. It's very handy. It can break immersion for some people, but like a lot of things, immersion, sometimes in games you can be too immersed to the point that it's actually a detriment of the game, and I understand that might sound weird, and I wish I had examples, but funnily enough, this just came up on a fucking podcast recently as well. But yeah, it's just, fast travel is useful. You don't have to use it, but do remember that if a game has it, it's probably there for a reason. Right then, this is obviously the last clip, so I will now be cutting into the end of the video, which if you watch the gamer tip video first, it will be the exact same ending as what you've just watched. I've put it on both. I hope I don't actually say that in the clip. I'm worried, did I have to remember to say it at the end of this one, or did I just already say it? If you repeat it, it doesn't matter, either way. Right, yeah, onto that. So, now we get to the end of the video. It's going to be the same on both videos, so if you've already watched the end of one, then you truly don't need to watch the other one, because it is going to just be the same footage. But I do need to say a few things. Obviously, this is just the beginners, the beginning things of tips, of tricks, of gamer lore and stuff like that. If you are watching this and you if there's something I didn't bring up that you wish that I had done, if you actually are knowledgeable with video games yourselves, that you think would be really helpful for... I thought the clips would autoplay, by the way. If you thought that would be really helpful for new gamers, then please do post it in the comments. I will potentially do a part 2 for each of these, if I eventually come up with enough things, but for now, I think the amount that I've put in, I don't even know. I would love to think that I'll have got to 10 each, but it starts to get difficult when you start to subcategorize all of this stuff as well, and I've actually asked for other people to help out, so some of the communities I'm in, and I'm over the moon and beyond grateful for those, any bits of help that I got with those. Yeah, but it's one of those, the piece of knowledge, the actual full-on piece of knowledge that I want to end both videos with. I've mentioned this in a lot of videos before, but I always figure this could be someone's first video, especially because of the nature of these. If, after looking through all of this, you think games are silly and don't understand why people get into them or anything, I actually can understand that. I can see it as valid. And it's why I want to impress upon you the fact that movies, TV, books, even albums, there's pretty much one way to interact with them. For the most part, it's you sit down and you experience the story that it's telling you. There's obviously some choose your own adventure books and things like that, and not every album has a story. Sometimes albums are like greatest hits, so it's a collection of tracks, and it can affect the flow of things versus the actual album, where there's bands like Camelot out there, where Camelot do actually do operas as their albums, so you can't really listen to their stuff on shuffle if you want the complete story. There's only one real way to interact with all of those forms of media, and they're great at what they do. I love movies and TV and books and albums. There's things out there that are truly important to me, but when it comes to my main hobby, my main entertainment medium, it's gaming. I will pick gaming over anything. Books are the only thing that might genuinely rival games at times, but even then, I say rival, it would take maybe a half-second extra thought, because it is games for me. It always has been and always will be. It's the only media experience that you can experience. Like, that's the whole point of it. Games are very different things. They're completely different to everyone, and every person out there has different likes and different wants and different wishes out of their video games. Just by doing this sum up here, I've intentionally set up a bunch of clips of loads of different forms of games just to show off a wide range of different things you can do, from boss fights, and this, granted, is one of the worst boss fights I've ever had the misfortune of playing. The Donkey Kong Country Returns games boss fights are they're terrible. But it's something that you cannot get in any other medium. Like, just the fact that there's boss fights, you don't get that in movies. I mean, the closest thing to like a video game movie, in my opinion, at the moment, I've been rewatching the John Wick movies, and I truly do love the John Wick movies because they are just nonsensical, like video games, in very similar ways. It's a case of he goes through a very loose plot of his dog dying, and that takes him into place to place, where then the plot actually expands with the lore, and he goes to loads of different places randomly, like Casablanca, almost as if it's like a side quest, and there's back travel and backtracking, and sometimes he has to go back to places. Like, it's got generic grunt fights followed by boss fights. Like, those movies are the only thing that I can say comes close to a video game experience, and even then, I experience that movie the exact same way every single time that I watch it, because that's all I can do. Whereas with video games, I choose what I do in it. And even games that don't have that much choice have more choice than a movie, because it could be as simple as I just play as a different character, or I run a different build, or I use a different weapon, or there's so many different things. And it's why, for me personally, gaming is the best medium on the planet for telling anything. You can get some exceptional stories But then there's games like this, Smash Brothers, where they're not designed to have a story. They're just designed to be fun. And it does still have some story mode. I'm not trying to crap on the amazing cutscenes that are in the Smash Brothers franchise, but for the most part, it's just zaniness. It's having the Wii Fit trainer fight Ganondorf, fight Pac-Man, fight Samus and Dark Samus. Like, you know what? It's one of those wild things about games. And until you actually experience it, until you feel it, you will not get it. There are so many games, there are so many times I will watch people playing stuff and doing videos of, I found this old game, and it's like, I understand it looks terrible, but it plays great. Like, it truly is the only medium that you have to jump into, and I understand there is such a barrier to entry from cost, from which console is right for you, or do you get a PC, or like which controller do I use, or which game do I start, or if I'm struggling with this. And it's why I wanted to make these videos. It's why I wanted to make something where I try my damnedest to help you, a complete, hopefully new person to video games, get into this genre, into this space, because I understand there's a lot of toxicity, there's a lot of elitism, and there's a lot of gatekeeping with a lot of things, and fuck all those people, quite frankly. They truly do not speak for all of us, and it's why I wanted to make this channel, so that in the hopes of you watching this can go, oh, I never actually understood that I should look behind a waterfall, or I never understood that when I see a barrel over there that says danger, it's actually a good thing for me in a game. It's a weapon for me, you know? And yeah, all of the other tips and tricks and gamer lore and everything that's in both of these videos, hopefully they will help you get into it. Hopefully they will help you understand some stuff, because I truly do understand that getting your first video game system, which I always recommend as a Switch 2 at this moment in time, before the price hike goes live on September 1st, I always need to make sure to get that in as well. And it's why I'll probably finish this list before I manage to think of 10, because I want this up before September 1st. It's why picking your first console, getting to grips with your first controller, which just, and I know I'm about to do live math here, but I need to actually be looking at the controller when I do it. You have ZL, ZR, LR, so that's 4 buttons right there. There's then another button on the top of the Switch 2 controller which syncs up, but you don't tend to need to know that. It just syncs with your console. You rarely have to press it. But even so, that's a 5th button on a controller. We then have GL, GR, that's 7. We have the left analog and the right analog, which both of those, you push them down and you'll hear a click. That's another button, so that's 9 buttons plus 2 sticks. The D-pad, which is the thing that looks like a plus symbol across, it's technically 4 buttons as well. So we're already at 9 plus 2 sticks, so that's 13 plus 2 sticks. Then you've got the C button, which is for a chat function, so that's 14 buttons plus 2 sticks. Then we have the capture button, the home button, the minus button, the plus button, so that's another 4. So what did I say I was at? Was I at 14? So that's 18. And then ABXY. So that's fucking 22 buttons and 2 analog sticks on a controller. If you've never held a video game controller before in your life, if you've never wrote anything in your life, and I've given you a calligraphy set and just went, there you go, do some calligraphy, I fully understand there are so many barriers to entry to this fucking entertainment medium. It is the hardest one to get into. It is the most expensive one to get into. And it's why, making these videos, I want to try to help you out with tips, tricks, with like what you should get, why I think you should get it, all of the options and ranges that you get from getting these things, and I truly do hope that these help. And with that, this video finally comes to an end. I really do hope anything here helped, and again, if there's stuff that you do already know, maybe you're a new gamer, and maybe you actually had been able to pick up on a few of these things, but then there's some things that I hadn't mentioned, that because you're coming in fresh with a new vantage point, that you're like, oh, well, I really struggled with this, so I think other new gamers should know that, then please do. You don't just have to be a gamer like myself. I'm not just asking for your help, I'm asking for your help, you know? So yeah, I'm asking for everyone's help. Just post in the comments things that you need to do, like, that you feel you would have liked to have known. Right. Anyway, I've been Sky Fellowship. I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. Until next time, bye!